Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Open Gym Podcast. And it is now September 2024, enjoying a nice cooler day over here in North Carolina. Bob, how's everything out there in San Francisco?
A little bit of a heat wave. It is. I love it. This morning was like probably low 50s, but it'll get up to 70, 80 today. A lot of sunblock for this guy's very pale skin. Uh, you know, don't want any skin cancer, so I do my best.
No, absolutely
Uh,
not.
but it's beautiful out here. It's a big change for a lot of people. Right, we're coming off summer. Labor Day just passed, so it's almost like the start of a new season, a new beginning, a new school year, whatever it might be. Parents done with vacation, their kids are going back to school, they're off to work, so it's a big change this week for a lot of people.
That's right. So, with that, right, lifestyles change, schools are back in session, routines change. Do you see a lot of people kind of gearing up for a new routine in your gym? Maybe populations are thinking about different ways to get set up for September, October, November. What kind of things do you see with your population?
Well, you and I together have been a part of a gym atmosphere for 14 years. And it's very similar. Like December, people start to go away and travel for the holiday. Everyone comes back January 1st. It's full throttle, and then June starts to hit, and it gets nicer out. Kids start to go off to school, and then July and August are just a ton of traveling, and now people are back, and gyms will get a little more crowded. So we'll expect people to just be flowing in a lot more. Work schedule is a lot more routine, and the next vacation really probably is until Thanksgiving. So 2.5 months of probably a lot of consistency from people. Our gym is doing a little nutrition challenge that's going to end right before Thanksgiving. Just a good way to get back on track and have a little purpose, not only to get into the gym, but while you're shopping, while you're out on your other days of the week. It's important to have a nice, I don't like to use the word healthy, but a relatively good routine.
Mhm. What kind of challenge are you guys setting up? What are some of the statistics you're looking at to measure?
So I will send everyone off to get a DEXA scan. So, and there's points for losing weight. There's points for losing muscle mass, not losing muscle mass, losing fat percentage. Gaining muscle mass is a big point adherent. So it's not just about losing weight. Someone can actually gain weight, put on muscle, and win the challenge. And there's also individual things they can do at the gym, whether it's, we're holding a plank for 10 minutes once a week or just accumulating time in a squat, just ways to maybe get them in the gym a little longer, but do some accessory work that will help the longevity, not only of their life, but also to help the challenge and their overall fitness as well.
And someone who's been a member of the gym for a while versus, let's say, a newcomer, everyone can kind of join this challenge.
Yeah, there is a price to join,
Mhm.
but there is a prize at the end of it. Prizes for the team. It will be a random team competition. I will input all those names into a app and get some random teams. So
Cool.
I'm not picking uh, who goes where. It's a great way to enhance the community
Yeah,
and get people together who normally wouldn't talk to each other, and now we're forcing them to talk to each other. It's kind of like being in school and being in a group project with the kids you don't know.
oh,
It's like,
isn't that the worst? It's just the worst. It's
and then
just
it becomes the best. It's like joining a new gym,
exactly.
joining a
You
new
get over the
team.
fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say a new person comes in, they want to join the challenge, they don't know where to start or what step one is. How do you normally go about getting them on track after they get a DEXA scan? What's step number one for them?
I was just talking one on one with what we're going to do, how we can do it. Uh, any nutritional advice basically from me is free for the next 6 weeks. Uh, Normally, my coaching is part of my business, but if you want information, that is a general question I can ask for you. Uh, then I will answer it for you and help you on your way. And I'm at the gym every single day for so you can walk into the gym and ask away, and I'm going to give you some information to take out of it.
That's awesome. Do you get any common questions from folks in your gym when this kind of challenge takes place? What's the most common question you get?
how do I how do I lose body fat? How do I build muscle? And at the end of the day, it comes down to eating, right? You don't have to be in the gym 24/7 to put on muscle. Uh, but also, we're gonna pick a person. Usually, the person putting on muscle has some experience in the gym. In my opinion, uh, most people. So
Yeah.
most people will come in and be like, "How can I lose weight?" The brand new person is probably gonna inherently, naturally do both just by showing up, because they're probably changing their entire routine in life by showing up to the gym on the newer side. Protein's such a big thing, and this is challenge aside. I don't think people eat enough protein. I think people are confused what protein is, portion sizes, and the overall purpose of how to live long.
Yeah. So are those kind of the strategies that you like to implement with advanced, even beginner athletes as far as like where to start? Hey, let's get the ground basis of protein in. Is there another macronutrient you kind of look at as well, or micronutrient to make sure that they're getting enough of, or is that really the deficiency we want to fix right off the bat?
That's a deficiency I'm looking to fix. If I start talking about magnesium and vitamin B12, these people are probably going to get scared because this is a foreign language to them. But if I say chicken, everyone knows chicken.
Right.
So I can kind of not, I don't want to use the word dumb it down, but I can simplify it for them to. And I ask them because I also have a lot of vegetarian, vegan population here. And so that's not my specialty. So I'd probably push those off people into a different direction and ask someone else. I'm more catered to people who eat a balanced all around diet. Not to say you can't have tofu every now and then, but the amount of tofu that you need to eat to get to 150 grams of protein, I actually don't have the answer. With chicken, I do. So I'm going to give you the answers that I know. And when I don't know something, I tell them I don't know. You should go look this up or ask this, or you can pay me to look it up.
There you go. Yeah, heck yeah. As far as like, let's say someone comes in and because calories, macros are such a hot topic for people to see on Instagram and Facebook as far as what to follow. Do you have a starting place as far as a calorie count? Do you have an algorithm for someone to use, or do you not even worry about that until protein has been fixed and dietary outlook, we'll say, like checking your food sources, making sure they're eating enough, things like that are sorted before you get into the nitty gritty of the numbers?
Yeah, I'm not worrying about anything else, honestly, in their day. Uh, Probably water. I don't care about alcohol intake. I don't care about how many donuts you eat because if we can get the protein up, those things will naturally come down because your body will tell your brain, I actually don't want this. Uh, and so initially teaching people what an egg is, what and how much chicken is, or beef, or fish. That's where I enjoy starting. And we have to take eating and nutrition like it's school, like it's work. And I think people take that for granted so much. We put all this emphasis into work. We've done 15 plus years in schooling, maybe not 15, maybe just 12 or 16. Uh, we forget about our bodies, and we've been eating since we were zero, but yet we've yet to learn. We don't know what a protein portion is. We don't know that fruits are very healthy for us for the majority of the population. I'm not talking about the diabetic population that might have a little intolerance to too much sugar. And uh, outside of protein, it's like, oh, carbs are bad for you. And I'm like, oh my God, where did we hear this? And I just want to cry. Or it's 12 o'clock and people come into the gym like, yeah, I haven't ate today yet. Yeah. I'm like, what the
Right.
fuck? And it's just the education. We put so much more time into education out externally, and we forget to teach ourselves how to take care of ourselves. Unfortunately, until we're 70 or 80, and the doctor's like, well, guess what? You have about 3 years to live. And then we care. And then we try to reverse everything when we can be reversing it right now.
Right. I mean, the nutrition part about fitness and healthy lifestyle and all that is always tough because you don't necessarily see results right away. And it's a consistency game, right? The more you eat healthy lifestyle manner, the more consistent you are with a nice balanced diet, you'll see results in 2 months, 3 months. Blood work comes back in a year, and you show better cholesterol ratios and all this lipid profiles improved, all this jazz. But you don't necessarily feel it on a day-to-day basis, so it's easier to drift off course. Do you kind of suggest any like food scales or any tools to help them measure things out?
I'm so this goes against common practice. I am so for a food scale for 2 weeks to a month. Learn, teach yourself, and then you may not need it anymore. I like my scale right now isn't charged. I have to find the adapter to charge it, and then I'm good to go. So for the last month, I've been eyeballing everything. And guess what? I have that capacity because I've been weighing my food for 10 years. And I'm just saying, learn. It will help that you can see. I got food from Whole Foods the other night, and I got chicken, and I put 2 small scoops of rice. Did the box look full? No. And what's the common practice? I'm going to fill up my entire plate until I can't see it. Versus, I know what the portion is. I had about 50 carbohydrates, and that's exactly what I wanted, give or take. Am I specifically tracking food right now? No. But I am mindful of drinking alcohol and processed sugar via cookies and donuts. So that's my focus. I don't have to worry about how much fruit am I eating, how much rice am I eating, how much peanut butter am I eating, because I'm taking out the other things that will lead to weight gain, right? The processed foods and the alcohol. And
Right.
so that's where I am right now. But I have created the capacity to eyeball my food
Yeah. And that
because
takes
of the
practice.
because I've taught myself. And whether you're getting a coach to teach you or it's simple, we use Google for everything, but nobody wants to spend an extra minute to Google are how many carbohydrates are 100 grams of blueberries, because that takes too long. When
Right.
literally you can put in what does 100 grams of carbohydrates equal in grams? Done. And it will tell you 20 grams of carbohydrates is 100 grams of blueberries.
Right. And the more you do it, I mean, that's kind of, I always have these conversations with clients about, well, do you just eat the same thing every day? Do you have any variety of food? It's kind of a cost benefit ratio as far as, yeah, if I introduce a new food, I may have to go back to square one with that food and measure it out a bunch of times until I understand where it fits in with my caloric intake for the day. Marcus Philly, who I'm sure you know, is an ex CrossFit athlete, but he's still big in the fitness world and stuff. And he put up a post the other day. He's been in the fitness world for 20 plus years, and he still measures his food out. And to him, it keeps him accountable and not veering off course too much. And when he introduces a new food, he may need to measure it out so he adds the correct amount into his daily lifestyle. And that works for him. And he measures let's say once a day, one meal a day, twice a day or so. But to him, that's not a hindrance. That helps him stay on track. And that may need to happen for a few people for 2 weeks, a month, a year, maybe for the rest of your life if it's not too much of a hindrance. But that's the only way you know exactly how much food you're going to need, how much food you're taking in. It's like loading a barbell in the gym. I'm not just using a blindfold and loading whatever weight I see onto the bar to squat. I know exactly what weight's going on the bar, so I should know exactly what food is going into my body. And after a while, I don't need to sit there with a calculator and do math for barbell weight. The same way I don't necessarily need a food scale after 2 years of measuring out chicken. I can eyeball it a little bit easier. So the more repetition, the more practice you get, the easier it becomes. But just like anything else, once you introduce a new variable, you should understand how that variable interacts with your body and your day-to-day caloric intake, not just complain that it's a pain in the ass and it takes a little bit of time. If you're serious about it, be serious about it. If you don't want to do it, then you can't really be complaining about the effects afterwards, is my opinion. That's what I try to get out to people as well. Some people may take that as harsh criticism, but at the end of the day, this isn't emotional, in my opinion, right? This is numbers. Food is calories. Calories can be counted. You can count that if you have a goal. If you don't have a goal, by all means, go nuts. Have, you know, enjoyment with your meals. Don't go crazy in unhealthy amounts. But if you have a goal to lose weight, some measurement has to be taken into account.
Great analogy, by the way, with the barbell. Love it.
Hey, sometimes I try with a blindfold. It just doesn't work out. I always get crushed.
Nick, do you have a recommendation for people on protein intake?
Uh, yeah, I mean, general consensus is anywhere between that zero 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight. It's tough to give someone the exact amount, but that's usually where I start out from. And everyone needs a starting point, and then we can alter it as we see fit. But that's kind of where I start out from. That 0.8 to 1 full gram of protein per pound of body weight to start. What about you, Bob? Anything else?
Very, very similar. I'll probably guesstimate if I don't have a body scan in front of me. I'll probably go on the bigger side of everyone's around 25 to 30% body fat. And I'll take that percentage, subtract it from their total body weight. And
I'm sorry, guys. There's a car alarm going out outside my gym right now. It's just driving us nuts.
Good.
I'll mute. Bob, you can talk.
And so I take that body fat percentage, I subtract it from their total body weight. So let's say I'm 200 pounds. I am 25% body fat. So I'm 50 pounds of fat. I'm probably going to start that person at 150 grams of protein, which is probably a significant increase anyway from where they are. The other side of that is, let's see what you're eating. And for most people, they're going to eat 3 times a day. They're probably only having 4 to 5 ounces of protein per meal. We'll round that up to they're having 30 grams of protein per meal. So that's 90. They can physically survive on that, but they cannot thrive on that. And so my first initial thing would, let's get that number up to 120. Let's see how the body reacts. And 30 grams of protein is going to be 120 calories. So we are not really increasing a ton. So over the next 2 weeks, how does your body react? Great. I promise you, you're probably not gaining weight. We're probably actually losing weight by eating more. And then we'll gradually bring that up to 150. And I'm 200 pounds, remember that. And then from there, how much am I working out? What else am I eating? And then once I have this person consistently probably cooking their protein for the week, or at least the majority of it, and then going from there. But also the flip side of what we talked about earlier with counting is that Marcus Philly works a lot from his phone, Instagram, right? So he's home, he's at the gym, it's his gym, he has access to things that he's want. Not everyone has that. So we're often at the office, we're somewhere else where it is not ours. So I may not have the time or access, because for you and I, we work pretty close. We can work from home a little bit, so we have access to our kitchen, less time for travel. But if, let's say, we live in New Rochelle, New York, travel down to the city, we're going to just round that up. That's an hour commute 2 ways. So it takes me 20 minutes to and from work. It takes them 2 hours. So they lose a lot of time. So maybe they're measuring 2 meals of the day: breakfast before they leave, and dinner. Lunch, hey, this is where practice comes in. We're eyeballing stuff. So we do understand not everyone works from home. We are busy, we are running around, but if we can measure 1 or 2 meals per day, it's going to add up in terms of your educational and your knowledge base, that you'll have it moving forward.
And let's go back to that commuter, right, who's going from New Rochelle down to Manhattan. They did not meal prep a lunch, and their workplace is taking the whole crew out for a lunch out. Do you suggest any strategies for that person to maybe look at the menu in a particular way? Are they looking at quantity of food? Are they looking at quality of food? What would be your suggestion for that individual that wants to minimize, let's say, caloric impact and processed impact, but wants to make the best choice, but they don't necessarily have all the available options in front of them?
I think when businesses will give us the breakfast or lunch, and I've seen it before. There's the fun food, right? There's going to be cookies, donuts, muffins, right? We think of muffin. Oh, this is a great breakfast, right? It's part of breakfast. A muffin, a breakfast muffin, and that shit is 500 calories of 80 carbohydrates,
It's
straight sugar.
brutal. It's
And
brutal.
why it's so, we'll call it good for the morning, is we have energy. Is it the best energy we can find? No, right? It's sugar. You're going to go up. We're going to have energy, and then we're going to come crashing. I need a nap by 10 a.m. I know a lot of it's kind of like a continental breakfast at hotels, right? Let's take some fruit. Let's take the Greek yogurt. If we got someone cooking eggs, great, right? I know Google will do that. A lot of big tech companies will have chefs on site and take care of that. And if we have to go out, right, let's make the best possible decision, right? If we're trying to have a coffee to hold us over, not to always get the pumpkin spice latte, mix it up with some just black coffee or coffee with milk, mix it up. Food wise, if we can, you know, look for, if it's a sandwich that has more meat than bread, that's what we want, not the other way around. A lot of places where you buy a sandwich, I'll call out Starbucks, uh, right?
Yeah, get them.
A lot more bread than meat than I personally would want. And when I think about protein, right, we think about how many times do I eat? I eat physically meals 4 times a day. I drink 2 of them. I'm looking for 30 grams of protein per sitting. I'd say not everyone is eating 200 grams of protein per day. So maybe you are a little less. Maybe you're looking for 20 grams of protein. But you also have to divvy up time and how much do you eat? If we're eating 3 times a day, right, I probably need 40 if I'm trying to get to 120 or 150, however much we weigh. So keep that in mind. Uh, it's hard. If we're doing our best Monday through Friday, and maybe we have that muffin once a week. But if we're changing muffin from 5 days a week to one, man, we are moving in a great direction.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a good idea, to not necessarily kill yourself about not being perfect. Personal example, earlier this week, I did not make breakfast for Monday and Tuesday, which means by lunch I was starving, and I did not make great decisions by lunchtime. I'll admit to that. That happens. But what I realized was I was making these poor decisions and I was low energy. I didn't work out right. And I knew all of this came from the effect of not having fuel at breakfast time. I normally pack a breakfast. I didn't. Because of that, I have these effects for later on during the day. So there's a cause and effect. So I can minimize the bleeding on Tuesday night, go to the grocery store at 8 p.m. Yeah, it's inconvenient, but I knew that would make my Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday easier and better for me if I just went to my regularly scheduled breakfast and went back to my plan of, which is right now, a couple of Greek yogurts, some overnight oats, and the stock black coffee, right? So it's all readily available. If not, I won't be able to have breakfast, and I'll go out to Wendy's and get 2 cheeseburgers because I'll be starving. Um, but it's one of those things where if you mess up, don't beat yourself up and think you're the worst person in the world. Just make the next option better. And if you know the reason why you're feeling drained or maybe lackadaisical about your diet, it may be because you're off routine. Go back to your routine as quickly as possible, analyze the problem, and just make sure that the next option you make is as good as possible, and don't dwell on the mistakes that you may have made. Not mistakes, right? We shouldn't really add emotion to this, but just off kilter a little bit and just get back on the right track as fast as possible and move on. That would be my suggestion there.
Yeah, it's tough. I think we're rushing around. We forget to stay in place, and at the moment, make the best decision possible. It's tough when we're starving and we drive past the Wendy's and we're like, absolutely.
Oh, come on. That Baconator on the poster, you're not going to say no to that. You're
I
fasted
have
for
not.
12 hours.
I don't remember the last time I've been to Wendy's.
Stop it. Don't lie to me.
Taco Bell guy. I don't.
Yeah.
I
And
haven't been to In and Out in. I don't even remember. I'm in California and I don't. I prefer McDonald's over In and Out, but I don't do McDonald's either.
there you go. I will say this. Another aspect a lot of people don't necessarily take into account when going on, we'll call it a nutrition revamp, nutrition journey, whatever, is the community that you hold around you. I think the nutrition challenge you have in your gym is fantastic because it, one, gives people information, a community to try new things, and a community to feel safe in if they fall off the wagon, and accountability to get back on the wagon. I mean, when we were in Colorado, how easy was it for us to go get a rotisserie chicken, white rice, and the vegetables? Because both of us eat the same way. If I was like, hey, you know what, Bob, I really want Taco Bell tonight and I need dipping sauces and I need a chalupa before I go to bed. And you're like, no, man, I want grilled chicken and rice and
Yeah,
green beans. That's a problem.
yeah.
And so to get through that, you need to surround yourself with people with like-minded goals. If not, you better expect some rocky waters trying to get to your goal for sure.
And you want to speak of rocky waters? If I introduce a food that isn't a weekly food, the rocky water becomes the rocky bathroom.
That's for
And
sure. Yep.
it could be a different healthy food. So I have
Yes.
places that I order from, and just from the sheer richness of how they prepare their food, if I go from eating my food 5 days a week and I order out 1 day a week, the next 2 days, the 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 way I'm digesting food and how I'm going to the bathroom greatly changes because I'm introducing new food.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the next thing someone's going to say to me is, well, if I just eat pizza every day and burgers, then I'll be normal and I won't have to introduce any new food into me. Yeah, you know what? You're probably correct. But and that's why people don't stray away, because if they eat like that and then they have a salad, then they're effed up
Right.
and they think the salad effed them up. When in actuality, they just got medicine introduced into their body that is foreign, and now their body's scared and evacuates.
Right. Your
Uh,
body's holding itself together by
yeah,
hopes and dreams for the last 4 years because all you've done is stuffed your face with pizza. Yeah. A vegetable may be the tipping
but
point at that point.
that's I'm not exaggerating when I give that as an example. That is real. That people have such a certain way. They have their coffee and their muffin. They they might have a sandwich at lunch, and then dinner is probably too much chicken, too much rice, and some vegetables, and that's normal, normal, normal. And no one wants to introduce an actual breakfast food, because then at 9 a.m. they have to go to the bathroom, when they just have to give their body to get used to it. And going to the bathroom that early is actually healthy.
Right.
It
Yeah.
comes down to like, oh my God, usually I have to shit when I'm on the train. What do I do? And
Right.
that's the hard part to like, oh, coffee and a muffin. I don't have to go to the bathroom until 10. Eggs with fruit and coffee, I got to go to the bathroom in 10 minutes. And it's so
Right.
it's a transition. Uh it's a tough transition. We get it. We've been there, but it's something your body and your longevity in life will appreciate, because those do change. You do eventually have the capacity to control your bowels,
Yeah.
and you won't have to rush. The rushing comes from the brand new, and
Right.
that's where your body is confused. But if the brand new is vitamins and minerals and more protein, right? That's the benefit we're looking for, not the alcohol and the processed food change.
I like it. I always give people a little bit of tough love when they come in to talk about nutrition because they're like, "Oh, do I really have to eat this way? Like, you're taking away my variability. I can't. I don't know if I could eat the same thing 2 nights in a row." And I'm like, "All right, well, tell me the alternative, right? Tell me the alternative. Tell me the person that eats pizza and burgers every night and is happy with their life and understands like and like show me the blood work that comes along with it. Because I'm sitting here and I would love to eat fucking stuffed crust pizza and bacon cheeseburgers and be healthy and live till 90 and squat my life away and sprint up hills. It just doesn't work like that. So as soon as you get it, the mindset of, yeah, it won't be beneficial for me in the long run to continue eating like this, then the switch doesn't become homework. It just becomes, all right, this is my new lifestyle. This is the new transformation that I need to do, because Nick's right. The path I'm on doesn't lead to the life that I want to live. And if I continue on that path, I'm just digging myself a bigger hole. And once you think about that, then weighing your food isn't that tough. Measuring food for meal prepping isn't necessarily a hindrance. It's just part of your day. And so that's, you got to give a little tough love. And I give it to myself. I give it to other coaches. Bob gives it to me sometimes. Like, you just got to catch people up with, because you mean the best for them, right? I don't mean to be an ass. I want the best for you. And sometimes it takes a little tough love to get you there. And I'm sure you're going to give that out to your members in the next 8 weeks as well. Suck it up,
Yeah.
Buttercup. Sometimes you just need to hear it.
Oh, I tell them that often, and that's not even food related. I think another thing we see on social media is, oh, I might get hit by a car tomorrow, so I'm going to eat whatever I want today. And we have that mindset every single day. I'm not going to go to the gym today because I might die tomorrow. What's the point? And then you live for 20 years and you get diagnosed with all this nonsense. And I guarantee when you get diagnosed with shit you don't want, you're probably not happy. You're probably not happy because it was preventable. And you just kind of stay in that moment. And you're probably not thinking about all the good things. And we're always stuck. What happens the worst? The worst is what we often think about the most. I would love to negate that from our brain and always think about the good times. But when bad things happen, we often think about the bad. And that kind of sticks out the most. And so thinking about, oh, I might die tomorrow, so I might as well just eat whatever I want today. That's going to catch up to you, and you're going to die tomorrow eventually because of that habit. And I'm not saying you can't have these things. It's just they shouldn't be an everyday thing, maybe not an every week thing. I think if we take all the things we love, I love burgers, I love donuts, I fucking love cookies and brownies. I'm okay with alcohol. The fifth thing I can't figure out right now.
Yeah.
That's 5 things. I'll have one of those a month for the rest of my life. They're there. I'm never giving them up. I'll give them up if I'm training for something very specific, which is why our last talk we talked about goal setting, because it keeps us very mindful and pinpointed on what we want, a little more accurate. Oh, I don't need this pizza. I don't need this donut because I'm trying to achieve this goal. And the goal is short term. I have a race in 3 months. All right, 3 months. I guarantee you the day the race is over, I'm going to have pizza, donuts, and cookies all at the same time.
Oh, heck yeah.
And that's the mindset that you should have around food. And it's not easy. It's like I go from drinking, I know people who drink every night alcohol, and they might have 4 to 5 drinks or one whiskey a night just to chill or decompress. And I'm like, what if we just change that to 4 days a week? There goes, we'll call that 100 calories a drink. That's 300 calories a week. That's 1,200 calories a month. That is 12 times 12. That's 14,000.
12 times
We'll
12
call it
is one.
14,000 calories a year.
Mhm.
A pound is 3,500 calories. We'll round it. We'll call that 4 pounds. 4 pounds from simply choosing to drink 3 times less per week. 3 drinks less. And that goes for everything. If you think about what you do daily, what do I do every day that isn't the best for me? I put sugar in my coffee. I don't do it for every coffee. I used to.
Right.
And that has enabled me to naturally lose weight. And I drink a ton of coffee. So let's say 6 coffees with sugar is now 2 coffees with sugar. So I
Right.
still get what I want. And my next step is, well, every other day I can just put sugar in my coffee for those 2 times, not every day. but you build up to that. You build tolerance, you change a little bit, you build tolerance, you change, you build tolerance, and you keep doing that until, oh, sugar. What is that? Because sugar is addictive. Cigarettes, alcohol, addictive. So we keep those addictive properties of processed food, or the chemicals in there are addictive. And that's why you can't just have one Dorito. Go buy a bag. I'm letting you buy a bag. Have one Dorito. Have one chip. See if you can only have one.
Right. Yeah, man. I like it. I mean, this could just be drawn to an analogy to weightlifting, right? You don't just go squat 500 pounds if it's your first day in the gym. You start with the bar and you start with 5 pounds after that. And then you add 5 pounds after that. And yeah, it's not overnight, but the consistency builds success. And you'll get to that 500-pound squat later, but like you need the foundation beforehand, and you start with the bar. So nutrition's seen the same way. You just start with, hey, I'm going to look at protein for this month. I'm not going to worry about everything else. I'm not going to get overwhelmed. I'm not going to crazily change my routine, but I'm going to look at protein. And once that's set, add another step. Maybe I'm going to look at water at that point because the protein's set. All right, now I have protein and water. Third month, I'm going to decrease alcohol 2 nights a week, and I'm only going to drink Friday and Saturday. Those are great steps. Add that up over the year, you've created a routine that you can stick to because you've taken the time to develop habits, and now you're on the right track. And maybe in 3 years, you're exactly where you want to be. It may not be the first month, it may not be 90 days, but now you have sustainable practices and habits to lead you to do whatever you want. And now you have a game plan to go back to if you veer off because of vacation, because of holidays, things like that. So slow and steady consistency builds success. Bob, for the last, let's say, question here, should people how do people find a community for healthy living habits? Would you suggest joining a gym? Would you suggest reaching out to a nutrition coach, things like that? What would be your best suggestion for people looking to build these habits who just started putting their kids back into school and want to start a new routine?
Hey, I find the gym closest to you. Keep it convenient. You know, we had so many members drive to us, which is amazing. But if getting in the car is going to be an adherence to you, what's the Google it? Gym's near me, and if it's something that is class based, I would recommend that. That could be yoga, Pilates, because you'll have some direction, CrossFit, small group training. I wouldn't necessarily go to Planet Fitness, not or a 24-hour gym. You might not get a community. People probably aren't talking to each other. They're going to look like Nick and I with headphones on. Uh, and so keep that. I think that is the easiest way. And it's always going to be tough on day one. But I promise the hardest part is stepping foot in that door. From there, it is way, way easier than you think.
Cool beans. Yeah, guys, if you have any nutrition quandaries, questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out. I know Bob running this contest and challenge over the next couple of months with his gym, he'll be bombarded with what's the best protein to have? When should I have carbohydrates? Things like that. So don't feel as though any question is out of the ordinary. We've heard it a lot. We'll give our best sound advice to you as best we can. And if you want to join Bob's challenge and you're not in his gym, would that be possible? Can non-members join, or is that a no-go?
That would be a no go,
It's a
but you can
no-go.
still partake in the time and the learning curve, the learning process. Uh, but yeah, that would be a no go.
So you won't win anything, but you'll be part of a group and you'll be held accountable. And at the end of the day, what's the better prize than some sweet six packs for November? Go to Thanksgiving. Forget the summer six pack. It's all about the Thanksgiving six pack. Show up to a family reunion shirtless and let them see what the gravy train is all about. All right, Bob. Any last words before we sign off?
I just want to take the time to congratulate everyone, and not congratulate, but today is a holiday, and if you're celebrating, celebrate. Do we know what holiday it is?
Is it the? I don't know what holiday it is.
It is the start of the NFL season.
Oh my goodness.
uh, so enjoy. I think as of 2 weeks ago, there is some kind of football on every day until mid-February. College football, that is, and NFL. So have at it. I love football. I love all sports. And yeah, have a
All
good one,
right.
guys. Please ask us any questions you might have, and please, please eat your protein.
All right, guys. Take care.